You're safe now, folks. This hunk of tin and transistors couldn't cut it against a real high-tech hero. A hero who's 1,000% committed to the fight against evil. And you have no idea who I am, do you?
With the success of Superman and Peacemaker still finishing up its second season, we keep getting more and more announcements for projects in the DCU. But something that we haven't really gotten a lot of information about is the Booster Gold show. Announced as one of the first projects in this new chapter of the DC universe, the show will follow Booster Gold, a man from the future who sent himself back in time to become a superhero. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really start reading Booster Gold comics until after the show was announced. Whoa! You are a fake fan! No. Guys, I am a new fan. A new fan. There's a difference. Jesus Christ, put that away. Fucking Booster Gold IRL is the same way, and they're the most superest of fans I've ever seen. So I don't want to hear any of that fake fan bullshit. That's not me saying I was completely unaware of the character's existence. My first introduction to him was in Justice League Unlimited. If I didn't watch this show when I was a kid, I would not have learned about a bunch of DC heroes. Like Hawk and Dove, Captain Atom. This show is the reason that John Stewart is my favorite Green Lantern. Speaking of Green Lantern.
I'm not Green Lantern. I'm Booster Gold.
Yeah, whatever, man. Booster Gold is kind of in that weird spot of popularity. Like, he can't really be considered underrated, but also only nerds really know about him. So I'm really hoping that this show will give him that push into becoming a household name. Like I said, we don't have a lot of info on the show as of right now. David Jenkins, the writer of Our Flag Means Death, is writing the pilot to be an HBO Max original series, but that's it. That's literally all we got. So since we still don't know a lot about this project, it's got me thinking about what exactly I would want to see from the show. So here is what I want from Booster Gold. I want to see the man's origin story. With the DCU so far, we have just been jumping right into things. Superman skipped the origin story. We didn't get a look at Peacemaker's origin until after the Suicide Squad. But for Booster Gold, since his origin hasn't really been told on screen, I think it would be kind of lame to just have him show up in the DCU and be like, yeah, he's from the future. Anyway, let's go fight bad guys. I want to see his family troubles, his childhood growing up in a 25th century Gotham, his football career, or at the very least, I'd want to see the heist he pulls off to steal all of his gadgets. You might think that that's a lot of stuff to cover in one episode, but I think of Creature Commandos and how each episode told a different member's origin story in a flashback without feeling like filler. Plus, I would want to spend at least a little bit of time in the future. Maybe the first episode opens up. We meet Michael Carter, just a regular security guard for the Metropolis Space Museum. We establish that his life is in a rough spot. Every day feels the same, a real Squidward situation. But every day he goes into work and sees the murals of all of these famous superheroes. He sees families visit and be inspired by all of the legendary heroes of the DC universe, and he thinks to himself, I want me some of that! And then we see him going throughout the museum, stealing his costume in the time machine, and the first episode can end with him traveling to Metropolis in the current DCU time. Basically what I'm saying is I want more than just Skeets giving me a Google slide presentation about how super cool and awesome and dope and amazing Booster Gold is. Oh, Skeets! I love Skeets so much. He's a little security droid that Booster stole along with the rest of his gear, and he's got all the vibes of a lovable little Star Wars droid. Skeets has the knowledge of all of the time periods, and he uses that knowledge to help Booster Gold in his missions. The dynamic between the two is great. It leads to some great comedic moments.
He's in the subway, sir. He's in the subway.
I know.
I would love to see the two immediately after they travel back in time, so we can watch Skeets help Booster adjust to life in this time period. Help him make a name for himself fighting bad guys and saving people as he meets some of the Booster Gold is no stranger to being on a superhero team. As I said, my first introduction to him was on Justice League Unlimited, but he was also part of the Justice League International, which is where he first met Ted Kord, and after that group disbanded, the two were members of the Super Buddies for a little bit. And with the JLI and Super Buddies both being founded by Maxwell Lord, and the Justice Gang looking like they need some new members, it would be cool to see Booster Gold join them. I obviously don't want them to overshadow him. I want this to be a Booster Gold show first and foremost, but with the DCU already being so lived in, it would feel like a waste to not have a few of them show up. The show is coming out after Lantern, so it would be cool to have him and some of the Green Lanterns meet up, and then everyone can confuse him for Green Lantern.
Green Lantern? Green Lantern? I thought you were Green Lantern.
I know it's only really a joke in Unlimited, but it's so good, dude. My favorite one is, this is gonna sound weird out of context, where on his way to stop a black hole, he helps a woman give birth. Stay with me. But he literally helps this woman through childbirth, and she's still like, thank you, Green Lantern! I really want to see him interact with Guy Gardner. Like the line that Guy says to the crowd in Superman is the most Booster Gold shit I've ever heard.
Why is nobody clapping?
But I mostly want Guy so we can recreate this panel. I was hesitant to include this next one because I'm not sure how likely it is, and I'm not entirely sure how they would integrate her into the DCU, but it would be cool to see his twin sister Goldstar. But even if he doesn't join the Justice League, or gang, or group, or squad, or crew, or whatever they are, even if we don't get any of that, most of all, I would want to see his friend. Booster Gold and Ted Kord's Blue Beetle are an iconic DC duo. They're often called the Abbott and Costello of the Justice League. They do fight monsters every now and then, and I would love to see the duo in this show. I honestly don't think it's too unrealistic. The end credit scene of Blue Beetle did set up Ted Kord, and I know that Blue Beetle technically is a DCEU movie, but given that Zola Mataduena is going to carry over into the DCU as Blue Beetle, I'm thinking that this movie will fall into that loose canon, similar to the Suicide Squad. There was even a movie starring the two announced all the way back in 2015, but it ended up falling into the ether of all of the other DCU movies that were announced and never made, which is a real shame. Their relationship is one of the best in DC Comics. Not that relationship. They get very offended if you think that, but genuinely, these two have such a wholesome friendship. I'm not saying I want to see Sean Gunn shoot this man in the head and then have Booster go throughout all of time to try to save him, but I want more blue and gold representation. Blue Beetle wasn't in Justice League Unlimited because of some rights issues at the time, so honestly, I'm surprised I know who he is. I'm kidding. Relax. I used to main that motherfucker in Injustice. I know Blue Beetle. But the only time that we've ever gotten blue and gold outside of comics is in Brave and the Bold and fucking Teen Titans Go. I know the show is made for kids, okay? But it's not like the 2003 show wasn't made for kids. The show can be funny sometimes, and it is genuinely educational, but the astronomical difference between people who are fans of the Teen Titans because of this show and people who are fans of the Titans because of Teen Titans Go is crazy. Now, there's a whole subsection of people who make fun of the character of Bumblebee just because of this show. That's not even mentioning, I don't even know what the fuck is going on with Greg Sipes right now. All right, I think that's been enough out of that guy. Let's move on. Remember like 20 seconds ago when I said that Booster went through all of time to save Blue Beetle? Well, in doing so, he ended up causing a different series of events to occur, causing a completely different future, blah, 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 the butterfly effect, you know the drill. But with time travel being such an essential part of Booster Gold in a lot of his stories, I really hope that they keep it simple. I don't think I'm breaking any new ground when I say this, but time travel stories are kind of difficult as fuck to do properly. No matter how a time travel story is written, I feel like it always gets messy if you think about it for too long. There are some good ones, right? Back to the Future, Marty tries to fuck his mom. Futurama, Fry fucks his grandma. I'm noticing a pattern here, but for this show, even though it is a big part of the character, I would really hope that they don't overcomplicate the time travel. I mentioned Gold Star earlier. Here's the thing. She actually died in an explosion, but then was saved by Rip Hunter. Rip Hunter is the guy that made the time machine that Booster Gold stole. He goes back and he saves her right before the explosion. So did she ever actually die if Rip was always gonna pull her from this moment at this time? You see what I mean? You think about it for just a little bit and it falls apart. The frustrating thing is how many stories will switch back and forth from the time travel where if you sneeze in the wrong time, everything in the future is changed, and the time travel where if we mess with this, we're actually causing this to happen. I'm explaining this bad. Okay, there's this moment in Reality Lost Part 1 where Gold Star is being painted by Leonardo da Vinci, which was a decision the character totally made and definitely wasn't an excuse to draw the female superhero in a full bodysuit naked for a little bit. But she's being painted, Booster grabs her and they leave, and when Booster shows her the painting that was being made of her, they realize it's the Mona Lisa. And Gold Star's like, what the hell, man? You should have let him finish the painting. But then we find out that Booster dragging her away before it was finished was what actually caused da Vinci to make the real Mona Lisa? Okay. So do our actions have consequences or not? Of course, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any time travel. I don't want that. But the whole butterfly effect thing has been done a million times, and if they do go that route, I'm gonna let them cook and hope that it's a fresh take on that formula. But there's a small part of me that just hopes that they keep it simple and maybe give us a little bit of Booster Gold, at least at the beginning of his hero career, didn't really do all of his good deeds for the right reasons. In his first outing where he saved Ronald Reagan? Sure. And for a brief moment, Booster knew what it felt like to be one of those heroes that everyone looked up to. So he cashed in big. And I think that premise is the perfect chance to provide some commentary on celebrities and how we treat them. It can show how that level of stardom can affect someone's life and all the dangers that comes with it. The show could be a commentary on superheroes as a whole. It's no secret that superhero media has been falling off as of recently, in some ways in quality, but mostly in the box office. If I'm gonna be honest, as soon as we start talking about box office numbers is when all the fun gets sucked out of talking about movies for me. But the superhero title doesn't really hold as much weight as it used to, which has led to a superhero fatigue. Troy Oboyo has a great video about how venturing into different genres with various themes can help prevent this superhero fatigue, and I really think that this show is a great opportunity to explore. The story of Booster Gold can really lend itself to multiple genres. If we do see the origin, I would really want it to evoke that futuristic sci-fi adventure vibe, but at the same time, I don't really want it to just be basic futuristic city. I think of how the Fantastic Four was both retro and futuristic, and although that vibe doesn't necessarily fit Booster Gold, it was such a fun and refreshing take on the future, and I would love to see something similar. And although Booster Gold is this very hot-headed and egocentric character, I would hope that we get to see more sides of him. Him dealing with imposter syndrome, how even though he's doing good deeds, he still doesn't feel like a hero.
Sir, according to my thermal sensor readings of Dr. Simmons, you just missed a prime opportunity to, well, I believe the phrase is, kiss the girl.
Kissing girls is for heroes, Skeets.
The main reason I love Booster Gold is because he is a somewhat goofy character, but if you just dig a little bit deeper into his mythos, he's actually very sad. If Booster Gold had a nickel for every time someone killed themselves in front of him, he would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's fucking bizarre that it happened twice. This is kind of a little thing, but music can really make or break a movie or TV show for me. Some of the best songs I've ever listened to, I first heard in a movie or a TV show. And Booster Gold is from the future, so I want to hear some futuristic beep boops and boop bops. I want to hear sounds I've never heard before. And I do hope that the show has a signature needle drop in the same vein as Superman and Peacemaker, something to play in the big final battle in the season finale to get us hyped. So far, all the DC heroes we've seen have had pretty comic-accurate costumes, at least most of them.
We're at a point where people get comic accuracy and then complain about it.
Guys, when I complain about comic accuracy with Guy Gardner, I'm not talking about his fuck-ass bowl cut. I just want him to have the vest. When you think of Booster Gold, there is a high chance that you think of this drawing by Chris Batista from Past Imperfect. This suit is great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But I really think that the suit needs the collar. It breaks up the color so much better than just having it end at his shoulders. As long as it's not like the last time Booster was in live action. And I'm sorry, Smallville is great, but this suit, okay, look, I like how he has brand patches, like he's a NASCAR driver, but that collar, I feel like if I asked this guy who he was, he wouldn't be like, I'm Booster Gold. He'd be like, I'm Booster Gold, the greatest hero you've never heard of. But if we're gonna go off a specific design, I think that the Mark 1 power suit is our ticket to win it. When it comes to fan cast for Booster Gold, I've only really heard big names. Glenn Powell, Ryan Gosling, Adam Warlock. He has a regular name. What's his regular name? Will Poulter. But I really think that Booster Gold should be played by a lesser-known actor to really lend to that you-don't-know-who-I-am side of the character. That's part of the reason why I like the Clayface casting so much. That movie is the story of a struggling actor, so to have him be played by some A-lister would just be like, oh great, Chris Pratt's complaining about his perfect life. And it's for that reason that I'm gonna go with somebody a bit more obscure. I was thinking someone like... Hello? What is this? I don't like this. What's happening? Ah! Why are you singing? Why is there singing? Hello? Hi? Hello? Should I be scared? Am I in danger?
Just another play for today. Oh, but I'm proud of you, but I'm proud of you.
Damn, he hit that shit. Holy fuck. I'm just paranoid. I'm anxious. What could this possibly be leading up to? Shane Top! Hello, it's me, Shane Top. Shane Top as Booster Gold is literally the only fan cast I'm on board for. I know it's kind of a joke. Shane himself even made a joke about it.
You and James Gunn have been in talks.
Me and, yeah, I've been talking to James Gunn about playing Booster Gold.
To me, the best part of this fan cast is that, for once, it's not just because he fucking looks like him. It is so easy to just take mediocre blonde guy, Photoshop the Booster Gold costume on him, and then be like, oh my goodness, I really cooked here. DC, give me a job. Now I hear what you're saying. Really? You want the Smosh guy to be Booster Gold? The guy from iCarly, Mr. Henry Danger, you want him to be Booster Gold? Yeah! I think we forget that almost all of the Smosh people are actual actors. Smosh is all about playing these super over-the-top caricatures, and out of the entire current Smosh cast, Shane is the best actor. I can't tell you how many times I have just been watching Shane do a bit and been like, dog, you are talented as fuck. What are you doing at Smosh? Go be a movie star. The only argument I've seen against this fan cast is Shane is 5'7" and Booster Gold is 6'5". So clearly he can't play that character. Oh yeah, because we give a shit about comic accurate height all of a sudden. Shut up. Y'all clearly don't see the vision. I can already picture it. This just in, Booster Gold has royally fucked up this time after defeating a large robot in the central metropolis area this morning in what he thought was a great act of heroism. It actually ended up crashing into a nearby building, killing several civilians and injuring many more.
Oh, they're announcing it on
But who do you think should play Booster Gold? What do you want to see from the show? That is all from me. Have a good day, y'all. Skeets, play them out.
Wasted, I wanna change for you. Wasted, I wanna see this through. Maybe I'm sick of sleeping alone, and that's with less feelings. Maybe I'm better off that way. Maybe I don't wanna see you stay. But I'm sick of sleeping alone, and that's with less feelings. Sick of sleeping alone, and that's with less feelings.
Michael Cera would be funny. Yeah. How about you? Who would you cast?
Andrew Tate.